The Shelmaliers from Wexford went to Dublin by train. Leinster against Munster for the championship of Ireland. Clontarf the place appointed for to finish the last game. We sent to Cork a telegram asking for a postponement, as the Reverend Canon Dorn was called to God on high, asking for a little time with respect to his dying, until the week of Sunday, but to this they did deny. We would not play till after we buried our loved pastor, who'd glorified his master for over 50 years. In the cemetery we laid him, and then went on and played them, determined for to beat them, we're the bold Shelmaliers. At 20 minutes after 1, when this great game it had begun, the Corkmen won the toss, and they tried our boys to tame. And when the wind was high, some experiments they did try, and with the Castle Bridgemen played a fast and thrilling game. The ball went up and down, back and forward all around. The Corkmen had the best of it, and for them there were loud cheers. But the Emmet's men intended their gold would be defended, and they'd win before they'd ended, would the bold Shelmaliers. The half-time whistle, it went shrill, and the Emmets got the wind, though the play not in their favour now for 15 minutes more. 5 points and a goal, and this was the whole. I'll tell you for certain that those Corkmen did score, for Wexford took the leather, and they all went down together, and the shouts went from all Leinster, you have ended their careers. And the Emmet's men expressing, saying we'll teach them a lesson, made 2 goals in succession for the bold Shelmaliers. The longer Cork remained that day, the more Wexford would bait them. Before they did defeat them, they were as swift as deers. Forlorn, sad and dreary, worn out, weak and weary, away went Lough from the bold Shelmaliers. Now I'll give to you the forwards, George Sinnott and Pat Furlong. Bill Roster and Pat Fortune were a driving force that day. Jack Leary and Will Dordan, they were the boys for scoring, and 2 to 1 they'd goal 'em for the bold Shelmaliers. Our middle piece being twice as strong, John Roster and Pat Furlong, Jim Murphy and MacDonald were the boys that laid them low. For every time they'd meet them, they'd put the Corkmen sleeping. You'd swear there was a waking, for no sign of life did show. Jack Murphy and Bill Neville, they began to lay them level, when they thought of Tom the Devil with his pitch cap and his shears. Cork first tried to win by moaning, when Wexford started scoring, but they flew like Anchicorins from the bold Shelmaliers. There was Larry Martin Lacey, Tom Devericks and Owen Daly, Jim Fogarty and Will Leary were our great men of fame. There was George and Michael Brown, who played the ball fast up and down, and our captain Nicholas Daly, who played a hero's game. Now I've given you the 21, with muscle, bone and sinew strong. I hope God will their days prolong for many, many years. With their Emmet's costumes wearing, what heroes looked more daring than the champions of old Erin, the old Shelmaliers. When a great bunch of people I spied, they were listening to music and singing. When I stopped for a while by their side, then I heard the most beautiful lilting, so tuneful, uplifting and true. And I stopped and
and I said, with a shake of me head, I don't know that man, do you? Do you mean you don't know Leo Carthy? Are you deaf? Can't you read? Are you blind? From the streets of Baghdad to the cross of the Shad, this fellow from Broadway you'll find on the green sod or at the Hayestown bud, in Brussels or even Bahrain, or in Torremolino, knocking back vino with his friend, the King of Spain. I was over in London quite lately, and I went to the great Albert Hall. The mummers from Cairn were appearing, and the leader enraptured us all. Princess Diane then said to her escort, to meet him, good money I'll pay. I'll give up me land if I'll let shake the hand of the councillor from Broadway. You mean you don't know the old Carthy? Are you deaf? Can you read? Are you blind? From the streets of Baghdad to the cross of the Shad, this fellow from Broadway you'll find on the green sod or at the Hayestown bud, in Brussels or even Bahrain, or in Torremolino, knocking back vino with his friend, the King of Spain. He's renowned for camogie and handball. He's organised fashions galore, and orations and good recitations, steam rallies and songs by the score. But when captains and kings are forgotten, he'll remember for many a day, in cities and towns, the man from Ayr Downs, the councillor from Broadway. You mean you don't know Leo Carthy? Are you deaf? Can you read? Are you blind? From the streets of Baghdad to the cross of the Shad, this fellow from Broadway you'll find at the green sod or at the Hayestown bud, in Brussels or even Bahrain, or in Torremolino, knocking back vino with his friend, the King of Spain.
I'm wondering about Halloween. Should it be gone if I don't say it? Once a year, so a chance I get to say it. A time for wishing and talking to your spirits. And this is written by Winifred Letts, who was a Wexford woman, I think. She lived a lot there. Anyway, it goes like this. The girls are laughing with the boys and gaming by the fire. They're wishing, each and every one, to see her heart's desire. 'Twas Tessie cut the barn brack and found the ring inside. Before next Halloween has dawned, herself will be your bride. But Molly stands alone outside the cabin door and breaks her heart for one the waves threw dead upon the shore. Anyway. Twas Katie's nut leapt from the hearth and left poor Pat's alone. But Ellen's stayed with Christy Burns upon the wide hearthstone. And all the while the children bobbed for apples set afloat, while old men smoked their pipes and talked about the foundered boat. And Molly walked upon the cliffs and never feared the rain. She called the name of one she loved and bid him come again. Young Christy pulled a cabbage stump to win a wealthy wife. Rosanna threw the apple peels to see who'd share her life. And Lizzie had a looking glass she hid in some dark place to see if there for an inch her eyes she'd see her comrade's face. But Molly walked upon the quays where Terry's feet had strayed and sobbed her heart out in the night. Sorry, Molly walked upon the quays where Terry's feet had trod and sobbed her heart out in the night with no one near but God. She heard the laughter from the house, she heard the fiddles played. She called her dead love to her side. Why should she be afraid? She took his cold hands in her own. She had no fear of dread, and not a single star looked out to watch the living kiss the dead. The boys are laughing with the girls and gaming by the fire. But Molly, in the cold dark night, has found her heart's desire. Well, you can forget if you like after that. Put in the right set to stand. You couldn't have got in a better place.
Or not Colm will go on about anti-clockwise and clockwise and all again. It will be a big trouble.
Beware when you see me turning the cursing stones anti-clockwise.
No. Excuse me. No. Don't mind the rain or the lonely sea. The weary night never worries me. But the hardest time of a sailor's day is to watch the sun as it dies away. Here's one more day on the grateful moonlight. Oh, the finest ship that sails the seas is built a prison for the likes of me. But had I wings like Noah's dove, I fly backward to the one I love. Here's one more day on the grateful moonlight. Oh Lord, if dreams were only real, I'd have my hands on that wooden wheel. And with all my heart I'd turn around and tell the boys that we're homeward bound. Here's one more day on the grateful moonlight. I'd pass the time like some machine until blue waters turn to green. Then I dance on that water shore and sail away, and will I no more, and sail away, and will I no more.
No, someone can come on, would you?
Oh, yeah.
No, we don't know what this 100 years here, like.
Right, Bernie?
Right, go ahead.
Oh, I am an Irish tinker with me horse and caravan. I roam the roads of Ireland like every tinker man. I'll sell you a fine
change in it, sir, I'll swap for the old grey mare. Have you any scrap or feathers, and I'll also buy horse hair. Oh, the wife, now the crater, she tries to make ends meet, as she knocks about from house to house with nothing on her face. But when the farmer's dog turns up, it's then she shows her skill. Sure you think 'twas the mighty Arkell, and she galloping up the hill. And the children too, God bless them, when they ask for bread and jam, never will they leave your doorstep till they say, God bless you, ma'am. Have the smallest bit of butter, a little pinch of tea, a few spuds for the dinner, or an armful of good hay. The old tent in the winter, sometimes it's rather rough, and the language that you'd hear at nights is often fairly rough. With the children all fighting, looky for a row will try, but sure everything is over when he gets a good black eye. So now you've heard my story, and I hope you will agree that the rear them, scare them, tear them life is the only life for me. But times they are a-changing, and now I have a plan, for I'm going to sell the pieball, and I'll buy a Hayestown. Nice man.
Make an announcement.
I'll give you the next.
Farewell, my country, a fond farewell, my bitter anguish no tongue can tell. Or I'm forced to fly o'er the ocean wide, from the home I love, by Lough Sheelin side. So proud was I of my girl so tall, I was envied most by the young men all. When I brought her blushing, a bashful bride, to my cottage home, by Lough Sheelin side. But all our joys were too good to last, and the landlord came, our young host to dash. In vain we pleaded for mercy, no, and he hurled us forth in the blinding snow. No one dared open for us their door, or else his vengeance would reach them sure. My merry faint in my arms died, as the snow lay deep on the mountainside. I raised my hands to the heavens above, and I said one prayer for my lifeless love. May the God of vengeance, I wildly cried, avenge the death of my murdered bride. We laid her down in the churchyard low, where in the springtime the wild flowers grow. I shed no tears, for the font had dried on that woeful night
my Lord Sheelin's
I do recitation. It was at the fair of Roche. I heard the sergeant say that the king was wanting soldiers and would give the best of pay. The best of pay, me boys, a medal and a cross, and a fourpence halfpenny pension when he send you back to Roche. And so I was considering a soldier I would turn and break your poor old father's heart, said Mick of Carrigbyrne. But father dear, I'd send you enough to keep you snug and warm. And though it be English gold, I fail to see the harm. Be it English gold or Irish gold, what difference does it make when you have to buy potatoes or the makings of a cake? With a red coat and a rifle, so your son you wouldn't spurn, I'd blow your brains out on the floor, said Mick of Carrigbyrne. But all the same, I'd like to view strange countries over the sea, and with drums and guns and cannonballs blow hutton knots away. I'd see the burning mountains and the fires, or the fires already made, to boil the new potatoes or bake the griddle bread. And then, and stuff like yourself, Tom. Something will be shooting it over. We get orders to return. And shoot us down by orders too, said Mick of Carrigbyrne. Whisht, father, whisht. I'd learn to speak the grandest English known, just as a lord or lady would to the king upon his throne. With a ma'am to you, and a sir to you, and would your honour please, and I'm greatly obligated, miss, I'd soon pick up their ways. Trut, when you'd hear me talking, on your heel you'd give a turn, and damn your vulgar cockney slang, said Mick of Carrigbyrne. But the English warrior is more decent than you think. Whoever met him an army man, I wouldn't take a drink. I'm tout that in the distance, while marching in review, to tell them from rail, gentlemen, we give you lots to do. But then I've never been from home much further than the turn. They're the dirty water of the world, said Mick of Carrigbyrne. But father, how else am I to know the way to pull a trigger or to deal a trusty blow? 'Tis not by walking on the land a body can be made, to learn the 1,000 tricks and turns that go to make the trade. I'd like to be a soldier if my land I wouldn't spurn. They're drilling in the glen tonight, said Mick of Carrigbyrne. Tonight? Oh, father, strange it is, they've never missed a gun. For I've had it often in the glen, they've divilled out your son. I'm as good a hand at houting it as ever went to drill. And there's hundreds just as good as me from this to Tallahill. I was only joking when I said a soldier I would turn. Up will humble England yet me boy, said Mick of Carrigbyrne.
Now in the last century in Iron Islands, there was this poor man. He was a poet, and he was reduced to begging. And as he was going along, he met this proselytizer.
Pardon?
A proselytizer, a man trying to inveigle him into the Protestant religion. And the man said to him that he would give him a grand suit of clothes and a grand gold chain on it, and a handy little farm, and a cow and a calf, if he'd only make up a song or a poem praising the Protestant religion and running down the Catholic religion. And the poor man was greatly taken by this offer. He thought about it, and he went to see the parish priest, and he asked him about it, and the parish priest told him, he said, you can praise them if you want to, if you can, but don't run down your own religion. The poor man went home anyway, and he thought about it, went to bed, and he woke up, or in his sleep he saw this light coming up to his bed, and the light said to him to give over his soul to be judged and he woke up in a terrible terror. And he went along to the priest in the morning, and he said he'd seen this light coming to him, asking him to hand over his soul. The priest was reading his breviary. He slapped the clothes and put his hand down on it. He said, "What you saw was the judgment of souls at the end of the world." As he said, "My mind is made up. I'll make a song all right, and it'll be a song that will be remembered." And it goes like this. Vain Shekaleide Amachore Shilelehi Kunter Dana Yena Malan Creidegol Ni Vain Shein Macleanta Slach Luther a Wallarein Char a Yontiger a Lohib Claes a Rega MacNaeidhe Nar Volkan Charegos a Night Manam Ve Vaskura Knagade the Goyher and Guntar Goil MacNaeidhe na Flocha Marian of Madaduchish Agus Harish Kakuhil Naim Sher Kunte Shi Hurton O mem Stangen Dilish As Crejalina Visa Unritas Gin Ariham by a heron Treshudol Nivel Dued no Calbearing Achiain sa Selsha Nor der be Achiain Vimri doing Nachos Fertig Skrifasjes na Linte und Larina Hivias Nogadung Shirayer Karish doing Yesi Evnas Nagros Is a Waiden Villishvi in Galnar Henaryav a Christi with a mina in Skagshli ho is go King Terror on Mosh O Nero go is ni bear far Hagard no ga clara Anten show me mashkelo Ante in Farsawoin Ante is loop hakayenta is reward achille fechin Tashe skrifer a klare and levegon farhol Antreo pakalater Gatokin MacLe. Excuse me. Sorry, I'll leave it there.
Yeah, come on.
Lough Weltam Sheer Hundred Worker Peak and Golds Medal and Medal Kechas Fionnán a Goer Shoy and Puckan Ronas there Buile Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Hallelujah and Pucker Buile Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. The Rimmer Trasnich Virgil Yoga Stogawan Kora Kerfodnam Winya Trasker Towerish and Snurker Yogi
The house in yon haraprim left when you
Hallelujah, 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 Tom Pucker, Buile, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, Tom Pucker, Buile.
Year of the Carrigbyrne house go on, never read the force on MacNaeidhe. Since in the hog shen yembo, le fun more like a winter.
Hallelujah, 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 Tom Pucker, Buile, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, Tom Pucker, Buile.
The garda more a mal and rosti. Zeg when you foresee on MacNaeidhe. Ach de hoog shen nog rop, dan larks het onje. Dat wist je moe, en she gibbel.
Hallelujah, 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 Tom Pucker, Buile, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, Tom Pucker, Buile.
En engen I korsje omtrenone, Bien sager prostje moknavinje. She dort korben, jol baoiles, I what to throw her fun.
Hallelujah, 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 Tom Pucker, Buile, hallelujah, hallelujah.
On the 14th day of November, in 1850, we launched our boats and put to sea from Tinabearna green. The northwest wind began to blow as night began to fall. The fishermen being high to sea at the mercy of the squall. It was in that sad and fearful hour, each man he took his own. But all our efforts were in vain, we could not make a show. We sat and watched the fading hills that smiled behind the foam. Bade adieu to Tinabearna and the friends we left at home. Our boats being small, well rigged with all, were unable for to sail. The time looks bad, so in the name of God, on our friends we must turn tail. We saw them kneel and pray to God as their boats were turned and tossed, and one by one in those fearful waves our neighbours they were lost. Our skipper John watched the fleeting clouds that swept across the sky. saying, boys, don't lose your courage until the moon will rise. The hours drag by and the storm they die, our hopes return anew. In the pale moonlight on that stormy night, Tinabearna came into view. Tread is a weary life, it robs fair maidens of their heart's delight. It makes them weep and it makes them sigh, and it causes them for to mourn and cry. Oh, Father, Father, build me a boat. Out on the ocean I'm going to float, and every big ship that will sail by will remind me of Willie, my bull sailor boy. She was not long sailing on the deep, when a fleet of Frenchmen she chanced for to meet. She asked the captain of that dubious crew, does my love Willie sail on board with you? Oh, no, fair maiden, your Willie's not here. Your true love's drowned, I greatly do fear. For late last night, as the wind it blew high, we departed, Willie, from the topmast high. What colour clothes does your Willie wear? And what is the beaming on your true love's hair? A blue serge jacket and the trousers white, and his curly locks round his waist belt tied. Oh, dig my grave both long, wide and deep. Put marble stone around my head and my feet, and in the middle tie a turtle dove, for to tell the world that I died for love.
My youth that's inclined to ramble to some foreign country I need to steer. I am loath to part from my friends and comrades, and all the old sweethearts whom I love dear. But there's one of those that I do most admire. On her I'll think when I'm far away, but if fate decrees, I'm resolved to part her and try my fortune in America. So farewell, darling, since I must leave you. I place great dependence on your constancy, that no other young man could earn your favour, nor change your mind when I am o'er the sea. Although the seas they may separate us, and in between us they may rise and fall, but if fortune favours me, you'll find your Jenny returning homewards from America. Oh, Jamie dear, do you remember when I sat with you for many's the hour, when my young fancy away was counting, the bees hummed round us on each opening flower. But when you're crossing o'er the western ocean, the girl that loves you, you'll ne'er mind the bar, and you'll scarce think upon the maids of heaven. You'll get strange sweethearts in every case. Oh, Mary dear, I don't dissemble to all other fair maids I'll prove untrue. And if you think that these are false promises, I leave these vows as my pledge to you, that what I have may prove unsuccessful, and the fortune prove to be a clithery bar, that a favouring gale it may ne'er blow on me, should I forsake you in every case. So now to conclude and end these verses, may God protect this young female fair, and keep her from every wild embarrassment, and of you, my darling, take the greatest care. She's low to anger and of kind disposition, her cheeks like roses in June do glow. In my nightly slumber, whene'er I think on her, I could court her vision in memory.
Killarney's lakes and downs, I was dreaming of the Shambrow and the dear old Shandon Bell, when my memory suggested on a vision bright and clear of the strange things that would happen if we had old Ireland here, if the Blarney Stone stood out on Sydney Harbour, and County Cork in Adelaide did appear, if the Shannon River joined the Brisbane waters, and Killarney's lakes flowed in to Botany Bay, if the Shandon bell rang out in old Fremantle, and Dublin town in Melbourne did appear, Aaron's sons would never roam, all the boys would stay at home, if we only had old Ireland over here. There are lots of pretty collies dancing on the village green, there are lots of fair young maidens, sure the finest ever seen, where the boys are all called Paddy, and the girls called Molly dear. Sure we'd wrap the green flag round them if we had old Ireland here, if
the Blarney Stone stood out on Sydney Harbour, and County Cork in Adelaide did appear. Aaron songs would never roam, all the boys would stay at home. If we only had old Ireland over here.
Oh, your apology, Charlie. Didn't you want to go across the set? I went away.
I do the one about marrying land.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. It's the County Down one, this one, actually. Marrying in is limit. When a man is 5 and 20, his blood runs strong. Strong and swift and lusty and plentiful and red. And a young fella thinks with that instead of his head. My dad and I walked Connor's land field after field. Field after ploughed field and twice as much in grass. And he says to me, if you don't marry in, you're nothing but an ass. She's not much to look at, but the place is rent free. You and her could work it with an industrious man, and the poor law valuation is only £20 pound. But I was 5 and 20, and I married Polly Carr. All 5'2" of her and 18 inches round. And her poor law valuation about £10 million. So the people said I was an ass, the loudest me old da. She had no land, nor bank receipts, nor stocks, nor motor cars. But I put a rent on her that would gild a heaven full of stars. I didn't marry land, nor Connor's old maid. I married bees of sunshine tangled in brown hair, and a look that crept into her grey eyes when I was there. A foot that went dancing, a voice that plucked strings, and 2 eyes that healed trouble but let trouble be, and a body that loved, and not because I was a man, but because that man was me. I married April mornings and the sudden smiles of spring, a bang door now and again, and an odd broken cup, a quarrel that riz sudden, and a sweet making up. You know, changeable weather is better than drought. I'm wiser than me old dad. So King Solomon married 1,000 women, and still wasn't done. Well, I married as many as him, and I had only one. There's 50 acres on Connor's farm. Anyway, I go skipping past his garden gate, and me heart singing tunes, for I married the whole world and a couple of wee moons. They're growing to the full now, soon they'll be kicking at stars. And my brain is drowning me blood, and Polly has something planned. But not until my veins run skimmelt will I bid them marry lad.
I think who'd you say for Nicky Lacy?
Yeah, for Nicky, yeah.
That was early Friday morning as I cycled into town. The front wheel it was wobbling and the mudguard falling down. The 2 legs of me breeches was tied up with bind and twine, but the pension book kept telling me a pint would soon be mine. Ah, how are you, Mr. Murphy, said the postal clerk to me. Not so bad, says I, for a man of 73. But the fox came to our house last night, and he stole me only duck. I buy a lottery ticket, man, it might just change your luck. Well, I took the little girl's advice and I gave to her £1. Outside I scratched me ticket with a penny I had found. Sure, I nearly went hysterical and the sweat came on me hair when I realised that I'd become a bloody millionaire. No more hay or corn to save, no more feeding calves. One kick from me big boot and the old bike was into halves. I headed for the local, sure I was feeling great, and half of shaggin' Wexford came in to celebrate. Not long after that I had a new suit on me back, a brand new Jeep outside the door with a telephone on the rack. The wife was wearing a blondie wig where her grey head used to be, and the Wellington tracks had disappeared from just below her knee. Sure, I sat there admiring the new dress that she wore, her lovely set of teeth she had installed the day before. I held her oh so tightly like when I was a groom, and we looked rich and graceful as we waltzed around the room. 'Twas then I got an awful shock, sure I thought that I might die, as I spied me big fat missus as I opened up one eye. With the rollers in her old grey head, she nearly made me sick. Get up, she, and beat the cows, you raving lunatic. Oh, it was then I realised that it was all a dream. Sure, the cows were bawling in the field, and the cat was at the cream. Me bike was through against the hedge, and me breeches hung from the line. But 'twas lovely while it lasted, that winning dream of mine.
At Christmas time long, long ago, I've heard old people say, when tyrant rule was at its worst, and Cromwell's troops held sway, a valiant priest laid down his life for faith and fatherland, at a place known as Tom Haggard, not far from Lingstown Strand. The year was 1653, when priests were hunted down and murdered without mercy wherever they were found. As Father Nicholas Miler called upon his faithful flock to assist him at the Holy Mass upon the old Mass rock. It was early Christmas morning, before not they found. The bright stars twinkled overhead as they knelt upon the ground, not fearing any danger that might have come their way, or they had a duty to perform, as this was Christmas Day. When Mass was almost ended, and all prepared to go to reach their homes before the dawn, and so out with the foe, as Father Miler raised his hands, his final words to say, God bless and keep you in his care on this grand Christmas day. But then a warning voice was heard, there's movement in the glen. Prepare to flee and save yourselves, I fear 'tis Cromwell's men. Pray save the chalice, cried the priest, before you go away. Please save it from those violent men, you'll need it yet someday. Brave Mrs. Lambert volunteered, the chalice she would use. She wrapped it in her apron white, to them she would never yield. But then a musket shot rang out, that filled their hearts with fear. The noble priest fell to the ground, no more his voice to hear. They laid him in the old churchyard, where pilgrims come and go, by those holy wells of Anne and James, where healing waters flow. The miler chalice in the church is there for all to see, and cherish with a burning love for all eternity.
Rolls down over Ballymitty the waters, and the salties grow misty and grey. At home on the mainland, our wives and our daughters are wishing good luck on the day. Us with a west wind long blowing, our nets filled overflowing, from a shoal that broke under our lee. So raise high a chorus, the way lies before us, with a boat full of spoil from the sea. The wind from the northlands is cruel and smiting, and the young lambs we scarcely can save, while the wind from the eastland is callous and blighting, and it adds a full to the wave. O sweet west wind singing, a seagull low winging, is our hooper that skims light and free. Then raise high a chorus, the way lies before us, with a boat full of spoil from the sea. The wind from the southlands is smooth and beguiling, and it quickens the seeds we have set. But the wind from the westlands is soothing and smiling, and it brings the fresh fish to the net. Then ho for the west wind, for oh 'tis the best wind, to save all poor fishers from dree. As we raise high our chorus, Kilmuckridge lies before us, with our boat full of spoil from the sea. So they'll be round the sail, and they more safely guide her. One more tack, and we make for the pier. See my Ellen with Margaret and station beside her. May I hear just come safe to my dear. O sweet Queen of Heaven, let praise me be given to the babe who once sat on thy knee. While we raise high our chorus, there's blessing hung o'er us in the boat full of spoils from the sea.
On Dermot.
Morning was tripping with a pitcher of milk o'er the fair of Coleraine. She spied me, she stumbled, the pitcher it tumbled, and all the sweet buttermilk watered the plain. Oh, what shall I do now? I was thinking of you now. Oh, such a fine pitcher I'll ne'er find again. 'Twas the pride of my dairy, oh Barney McClary, you're sent as a scourge on the girls of Coleraine. Oh, I sat down beside her and gently did chide her that such a misfortune should cause her such pain. A kiss then I gave her, and before I did leave her, she vowed for such pleasure she'd break it again. It was hay-making season, I can't tell the reason, but misfortunes will never come single 'tis the hain. For very soon after poor Kitty's disaster, near a pitcher of milk it was all in Coleraine.
Well, it happened out in Drinagh, not far from Wexford town. Ned Comfort, he was worried that his trade was going down. Then the mummers came to practice, and soon there came the call. Why don't we get together, boys, and organise a ball? The first thing to do was get the printed tickets out. Spread around the area and get the fivers in. Then practice like hell the figures and the steps throughout. And do a deal with Ned for grub on that great evening. With Mick Kinsella on the fiddle, Pat and Tommy Hayes, Dermot Kelly on guitar, Hunt from and tip days. The bar receipts were running up and the moisture down the walls. Oh, sure hadn't we the gaiety at the Drinagh Mummers Ball. Well, first of all, Pat Fortune got out for to explain how each mummer there would represent the famous name. Characters from history like Theobald Wolfe Colm, Father Murphy and John Kelly, who were two of Wexford's own. Then the boys marched on with the greatest of vitality. Their striking and figuring was timely, crisp and clear. Long John, Little Ted, the essence of frivolity, while Tom and Willie Rossiter were getting into gear. There was Mrs. Dower and Mrs. Power and Mrs. Murray too. Bob and Kitty Connolly appeared as if on cue. Joe White, Mrs. Carrigbyrne and Tom Fitzpatrick Tall were cutting capers on the floor at the Drinagh Mummers Ball. Josie and Tom Kehoe figured with the best of them, with fancy steps the Scallons had never seen before. Half-sets, waltzes and sambas came alike to them, and every time the music stopped they shouted out for more. With Nick Kinsella on the fiddle, Pat and Tommy Hayes, Dermot Kelly on guitar, hung from Antipodes. The bar receipts were running up and the moisture down the wall. Oh, sure hadn't we the gaiety at the Drinagh Mummers Ball. Then the Brothers Hall from Rowestown got out to show us how 'twas poetry in motion, I'm going to tell you now. They pranced the Mason's apron to the sound of great applause, till a lady from the audience got up to help her cause. Frank Murray played to the best of his ability. Biles and Scallons got up to do their share. Mick and Nancy Faring showed no signs of debility, and Bernie made two speeches that were elegant and rare. With the Kinsella on the fiddle, Pat and Tommy Hayes, Dermot Kelly on guitar, home from Antipodes. I hope the mummers keep their health, and likewise both the halls. Sure, if we hadn't got the mummers, sure we couldn't have the balls. Go on, give it last in there.
me in the Níl bí adrian, níl sneach a grúian, Fácún is calde, is ag mar Níl torres cruigan Egan cead of swills Oh, the cause of my sorrow is that I cannot tomorrow go to the glen where my true love dwells, where the honey is streaming and the butter is steaming, and until September, oh, the flowers swell. The north winds don't soar, nor the snowflakes fall. The ships are sailing their sheltered coasts, and in addition, there's no hilly nation for the man who will visit his own true love. Share the Durchelen story, oh, be to gals, go nyen afolen, arrelulam, snach mien tranona, no magin nach du anwelt olich bin se nach Eg shune bonti sna kailche knover ni weg von Ach, nebe poste, lemme ville storin, selan og brodur, herre broder. Oh, said I to my true love, since first you were my true love, I had asked you to fly with me afar, and morn or evening, in spring or autumn, you are my light and my to my own dear flower, and my hand pressed proudly on her snow white my heartstrings makes me music if I would think of you, and if you call me darling, I would wear a feathered shoe. I would swim the Shure and Slaney and the Shannon any day, just to walk with you, lovely lady, and to take you round Lough. If I owned all Portonna, or the markets of Athlone, or the walls and all the money that belongs to Limerick town, I would part unto your people. Oh, if you let me presume, just to walk with you, lovely lady, and to dear squire in tune. Some people say it's easy and blame the Western now, but who was ever able for to harrow with a plough? Not rare was I for labour, or to watch the seasons play, but gambling, sport and dancing lost me my own Lough. Last night abroad in London I spent my only crown. I toasted my own one, and after cried was down, I walked the lambs till morning, and I heard your heart away. I wish I was the red fox you hunt around Lough. Now length may last till Easter, and after summer comes, and feasting or fasting, while the slow bush puts in bloom, the Queen of Hearts is lonely, but a joker still to play. I will lead and I'll take her from you, oh strong men of Lough.
Why Jack Duggan was his name. He was born and raised in Ireland, in a place called Castlemaine. He was his father's only son, his mother's pride and joy, and dearly did his parents love that wild colonial boy. At the early age of 16 years, he left his native home, and to Australia's sunny shore he was inclined to roam. He robbed the rich to help the poor. He stabbed James MacConfhaola. A terror to Australia was that wild colonial boy. One morning on the prairie, as Jack he rode along, he was listening to the mockingbird singing their native song of sprang 3 mounted troopers. It was Kelly and Fitzroy. I'll fight, I'll not surrender, cried that wild colonial boy. He fired a shot at Kelly, which brought him to the ground. And as he turned to Davis, he received a fatal wound. A bullet pierced his proud young heart from the pistol of Fitzroy. And that is how they come